Hey, it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And I am so excited to finally bring one of my favorite people that I've known for, I don't know, Vicki, how long have we known each other? For a
Oh my
while.
gosh. Yeah, it's been a
I,
while.
I feel like we've been business buddies for many years. And so I'm excited to have you on my show. Everyone say hello to Vicki from Resumes for Hire.
Hi, everybody.
So, Vicki, I know you've been around nonprofits for a really, really long time, and I think that's maybe where our business friendship started. I was actually trying to think how it all started, but I've known you for years, but I feel like the last few years is when we've really kind of connected and made sure that we're doing okay, hanging in there, and it's always been nice to have somebody else to lean on. So
Yes.
give the viewers a heads up on what you're currently doing now and a little bit about your business.
Okay. COVID really pushed me into a business, which is kind of interesting. I'm doing resumes. My company's Resume for Hire. And during COVID, it seemed like a lot of people had a lot of time on their hands to think about their lives. And are they happy with their jobs? If they're unhappy, do they want to change jobs? And boy, a lot of them do. So I've been doing a lot of work with folks that are literally changing careers, not just looking for a new job, but changing completely. And it's been really interesting.
And how did you become that expert of helping with the resumes or job searching?
Referrals. I used to do resumes just for friends. When they needed one, I'd do one. But I've gotten a lot of referrals. And earlier this year, I decided to take a master's class on doing resumes because algorithms have changed so many things in resumes. And there's a way that you can actually test your resume to make certain that the algorithms aren't going to bounce your resume out of the running, so to speak. So, there's a lot of little hooks and crooks and all that type of thing. In the past, I used to put skills for people in a chart at the top of the page. And now you can't do that. Anything that's in a box, it can't read. So there's really a lot to know.
And because now majority, I would say, resumes are read by a computer before they're even touched by a human. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. In a lot of cases, the algorithms will only let it read straight across the page. So if you have columns, it doesn't work. There's just a lot of different things that really will push you out of the running before a person at the company can actually look at it.
Wow. Keywords are probably important.
Yes. Yes. Huge. Huge. And you
So,
don't want to be this is one thing that I had to convince somebody of the other day. You don't want to look at the job description and pull the words right out of the job description and put them on the resume. That won't work. So
that's good to know. That's a great golden tip you just gave me.
there you go.
So you said it was because of COVID that this kind of came together, and people seek you out through referrals. But was this a business thought prior to? Have you tossed around this idea in the past, or COVID gave you the push to make it happen, or like tell us a little bit about that process.
It really was COVID that gave me the push because that turned all of those people into clients without me even really talking to anybody practically. But, before, as you know, I worked with not-for-profits a lot. And then when I retired, I started Go Events. Well, Go Events kind of subsided a lot. I found out very quickly that a topic like Go Events, where you're talking about fun and people together and enjoying themselves and all that, just don't work as well on a webinar. You have to be able to throw out candy for the right answers and all that type of thing and just have a good time with it. And I might get back to that at some point, but for right now, I'm pretty happy doing resumes.
I love it, and you have a lot of experience in it, so people can rely on your experience. And you just said that you went and got more education to help people, so you're always learning, which is great.
Yes.
Do you have resources that you lean on when maybe you have a client that has something new and exciting and kind of trumps you? Like, oh, haven't
Yes.
experienced this before.
Yes. I have a person that was part of the training team with the master's class. And part of my fee that I paid gives me an option to get a hold of them and ask my question.
That's
So,
good.
there's somebody in the wings, which I really am happy about, because I've had some tricky situations come up. And a lot of it is about negotiations, because I also do the training that goes along with the resume, job search. And, don't worry about or don't apply for jobs you're not qualified for just to apply. Negotiations, etiquette at a job interview. All of those types of things go into getting that job.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know we're friends on Facebook, but I just posted that my son got his first job. He's 15.
Oh,
He didn't need a resume, thank God, because he doesn't have any experience. But the funny thing is you're talking about the interview etiquette, and that's one thing that, on our drive to one of his golf matches, we kind of talked about, what to expect. And I said, you're 15, you don't have any experience, and they understand that. But what they're looking for really is eye contact, greeting them with a warm hello, shaking their hand,
yeah,
simple things like that. And I said, by you doing just those few things, you're gonna have an edge over most of the teenagers that are gonna be walking through that door.
that's for sure. That's for sure. A firm handshake. A firm handshake is really important. It sounds so simple, but it really is important.
Yeah, and I know he was slightly nervous, and of course it was a very informal interview than
Sure.
what most of your clients are experiencing. But yeah, it was a cool thing for him, and so he got the job, and he was told he had to cut his hair.
I love it.
So we got a haircut today. So.
Good for him.
But so one question I have, and I think a lot of people have seen this, the sign-on bonuses and the request for real help. What's your take on that? Like, what are you experiencing with your clients in that kind of situation?
I'm not sure what your question is.
Well, like just with the, I guess your take on the sign-on bonuses and the lack of workers wanting to work.
There's a lot of that out there.
I saw a story on Facebook that one of my friends posted that there was a company that was offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. They had a job fair. $5,000 sign-on bonus. You start at the top pay rank, and not one person showed up to that job fair.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, that's incredible. Like those, I guess it's shocking to me when you have, so many people that need work. But is it more the professional positions that are sought after versus just the general want ads, I guess?
Well, I think I mean, I certainly don't see all of them that are out there, but most of the ones that I'm seeing are kind of the general type. But lately, I've been seeing an awful lot more, excuse me, of like administrative assistant positions. I
Sure.
mean, right now, if you're thinking about changing jobs, this is the perfect time to get your resume ready. And I always tell people, don't wait until you need a resume to do a resume. It's the worst time in the world to do that because you're nervous, and you're not going to do your best. You can't when you're that rushed. You
Right.
should always have a resume ready to go.
I
You
like
know,
that advice.
I mean, if you're out at, dinner with some friends and you're talking to somebody and you're saying, geez, I'm looking for another job. If you hear of anything, oh, well, you know what? I need somebody in my department. Can you get me a resume tomorrow? And, you look like deer in the headlights,
Right.
sure. And then you go home and whip something together. That's not the way to do it. One of the other things that I always tell people, because people don't like to do their own resumes, they find it very difficult. And I told them, I said, when we're kids and we're growing up, our parents are teaching us, more than likely, don't brag. It's not
Mhm.
polite to brag. Nobody wants to hear you brag. And then we grow up and we want to get a job. And what do you have to do? Brag.
Right.
Well, it's much easier to have somebody else do the resume.
Yeah. So what's the process like? How long does it take from your first initial phone call to um, having a completed resume?
Well, it totally depends on the resume and it depends on what I get. What I have people do is send me their in Word so I don't have to retype a bunch of stuff for them. And, if they have a hard copy and it's handwritten or something, I'll certainly do it, but it does take longer. I review it. I put in a bunch of questions where I need more information or whatever, send it back, and then we bounce it back and forth. It depends on if it's a same job or same industry, or if it's just way different. And lately, like I said, there's been a lot of them that are just, wow, how'd you get there? But so usually I'm going to say the longest that it's ever, well, I won't go the longest because that person never got back to me. I always had to chase them for the replies. I'm going to say probably a week and a half, maybe something like that.
So a lot
Average.
of back and forth. Do they send you their current resume? Is that how you get the ball rolling?
Yes.
And then you go from there?
Yep, exactly. And I have with people trying to change jobs, I have a couple I'm working with right now that want to change, but they don't know to what. So what I have them do is look at their work history and make a big column of all the skills that they used, everything. And then I tell them to take the individual skills that they enjoyed using and pull them over into another column.
Huh.
And if they look for those skills in the job where they're going to be doing the things that they like to do, it's going to be a much better chance they're going to be happy with that job.
Yeah.
And that tends to work.
That's great. Great idea. So where does LinkedIn fit into all of this?
LinkedIn is hugely valuable. There's a lot of really good companies out there that don't even advertise any longer. They go directly to LinkedIn, they search for what they need, and either they contact you or they, get to a headhunter and give them the list and then they reach out to you. But if you don't have a good LinkedIn, and there's a lot of tricks in that too, if you don't have a good LinkedIn, you're probably missing out on some really good jobs.
And is that a service that you provide helping with the LinkedIn page or just
I
for
have
your resume?
kind of a menu type thing that people can choose from what they want. Resumes, of course. And I have a couple people right now that are hiring me to do their LinkedIn and, job etiquette, interview etiquette. You know, when you walk in, you don't put your purse on their desk. You know, the stuff that you think people would just intuitively know, but not
No.
everybody does, you know.
I learned a long time ago, common sense is not typical.
No, no, no.
It's
And,
not
you know,
normal.
my favorite one to tell them about the interview is review that website and make certain you have some questions. Because when they say, do you have any questions? If you say, no, not really, it doesn't make you look very interested in the company.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they have to make sure that they've got some good questions. And I would recommend everybody start out with the typical, you know, well, when I was looking at your website, and then
Yeah.
bring up your question. And it works. You
Yeah.
got to let them know you're interested and not just looking for a job.
Right. And a follow-up thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And industry states now that doing it by email is just fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to send them a candygram, although that might get you the job.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool. So, in your past, how many resumes have you completed for yourself?
For myself,
Yeah.
gosh, I'm constantly revising them. I'm even revising them now, and I don't intend to go back to work. I better not say that too loudly. Um, I've probably done maybe 15, something like that.
That's a lot.
It is.
And
It
so
is.
it'd be interesting to have like, not that you might have it, but like what your first resume looked like and what a current resume would look like. I mean, I'm even thinking about my resume when I got out of college, you know, well over 20 years ago, and what it might look like now would be completely different. I'm not even saying the skill set. I'm saying like the design aspect of it, the look
Yes.
and feel of it.
Yes.
Um, that I would be interested to see like the comparisons of
I've
then and
looked at I've
now,
looked at a couple of mine, and
the
it's
before
like,
and afters.
oh my goodness gracious, was it long?
Yeah,
I felt like I had to put every good thing that I ever did in any job, you know, because that all was important.
yeah,
Well, you know, pick and choose, for goodness sake.
right. Yeah, that's a good valid point too, because you talk about, you know, people not wanting to brag, but then also making sure that there's valid points on there that make you look like a qualified candidate for the position. Are they strictly wanting the one pager resume or two page
Two,
or two pages?
two. Yeah. Yep. The
Yeah.
other thing that has changed the most, and it makes such good sense. The minute I heard it, I went, oh my gosh. Job objective is not the way that we've all been doing it for years and years and years.
Hmm.
That's where you put your skills list. Job
Oh,
objective is what the objective for the company wants. So you take what they have, you know, in their job description, and you create why you're a match for that
oh,
in your job. See, that's exactly what I said.
on the resume.
Yeah.
Because normally I
They,
would do that in my cover letter.
yep. No, no, no,
Ooh,
no. Put it because a lot of cover letters never get read,
yeah. You're
you
giving
know?
away some major golden nuggets here, Vicki. I hope people tune in. And I'm not even looking for a job either, but man, that's good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, it made so much sense when the speaker said it. The whole room went, oh. And
Yeah.
then you had that buzz going on when everybody was looking at one another going, did you know that? I didn't know that. That's really good. You know, that little deal. But it makes so much sense when you think about it. What do they care about what you want out of a job?
Yeah. Right.
You know, I mean, they can talk about that at the interview, but they want to know that you're a match for what they want.
True. I like that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It makes sense. Duh. But
Yeah.
back a long time ago, there was probably somebody said this is what it should be, and then that's kind of where the path
Exactly.
went down. But
Yeah.
it does make more sense. Like why? Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. They gave us a lot. We were writing our fingers off trying to keep up with all the notes. So
Yeah.
it was a good class. I'm glad I took it.
So for you, how do you measure success in your new role at Resumes for Hire?
My success is when people get hired, obviously. And the icing on the cake is when they get hired in a position that they're truly happy with. I don't want to help them get a job that they're going to be miserable at, you know, but I want them to be a good fit for it. And I want them to really be happy that they made the change. And a lot of what we talk about is what they do like and what they don't like. So I can get a really good handle on that for them. And then I do send job leads that I see to different people and
Oh,
those types of things. I keep their resume. When we're done, I send them a PDF, I send them a Word copy, and then I retain a Word copy in their file. So if they do need to come back at some time, I've already got all that. I would just have to add what job they just had.
nice. Where do you anticipate this consulting going in the next year and in a couple of years?
I would love to get to the point that I do presentations on it, training seminars and that type of thing. And I think it could be easily done. There's just so much information. And then I would offer my services at a discount to help them work through it. They'd be doing it, but I'd be doing analyzing and reviewing it and then send it back to them.
Yeah, I like that idea. And you're so good with not only people but that educational um, way to present things. So
Oh, thanks. I
you
enjoy it.
yeah, and you
I
can tell.
enjoy
I
it.
mean, just what we've gone through in the past, I can tell that you're that's a passion of yours, so it comes off very easily, and you can tell that you really just want to help others
Yes.
with what you know and help them.
Well,
So
anytime that I tried a corporate position, I wasn't happy. I always went back to my not for profit because I just had that in me that I wanted to help people.
yeah,
So,
do you tend to help people that are new to the workforce or that have been in the workforce for a while? I mean, what do you have a preference or where things are kind of generally fall?
I like the people that have been in the workforce for a while because they do have some history to work with. But I can certainly work with like your son. When he gets done with this job, there's enough there that I can pull from him, the skills he used, and we'll talk about people skills and all that type of thing. But on the resume now that are going on, people want to know, not only do they want to know, do you know Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel? They want to know how long you've worked with it.
Oh,
So people should now start keeping track. Okay, I started using Excel about 5 years ago. Write that down, and then every year you're going to add a year to that
sure.
because that's what people, I mean, and it makes sense. If you just learned it last week, chances are you're going to have a little problem with it. But any type of technical, they want to know how long.
Yeah. That's interesting. So the one other question I have, and only because it relates to me personally, but maybe other people are thinking of it. But like not only resumes, but taking it to the next step of like college applications and like scholarship uh, applications and things like that, because they are like mini job applications. They are.
Absolutely.
Um, Is that something that you've considered or would, add to your list of services?
I haven't had time to consider something else, but I certainly should. You're right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind working on that. I'd have to do some research on it. But yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks, Cindy.
Well, only reason is because, like, when you're looking at college applications and some of the things that they're asking, it is very, very much in alignment with a job interview and needing a resume. And same thing with the scholarships too. And I guess probably the larger scholarships, their process is very thorough. You
Oh,
really
yeah.
have to, have those things, or maybe it's just a resource of tools and things that maybe you should have in your back pocket that, you keep track of during your high school years.
Yes.
Because, I mean, even just the volunteer hours that we have to keep track of for our kids, so
Yeah.
that
Well, and that's
we
important
do,
to some companies too. Some
yeah,
companies that are really supporting their communities want to know that you understand volunteerism, you
yeah.
know?
If it's important to the company, then you're going, and you're not of the volunteer type, then it
Exactly.
probably won't mesh very well. Oh goodness. Well, I'm excited for you, and I know, I've referred you to several people for resumes in the
Thanks.
past, and you're a true gem, and I wish you all the best in this awesome endeavor. And I always give my guests an opportunity at the very end, and our 30 minutes went by in a blink.
It does.
It always goes by so fast. But I give my guests an opportunity to promote themselves, whether, how people can find you, and I can add it to the screen so the people that watch it on replay have an easy way to get it. So the floor is yours. However you want to use it to promote your business, feel free.
Okay. Okay. If you're looking for a job, or if you think you might be looking for a job in the future, now is the best time to do your resume. I can be reached at 815-520-7695 and or at resume and the number 4 hire consultant at gmail.com. And, contact me and let's talk. We'll do a little bit of a phone consult and see if I'm a fit for you.
Okay, what was the email address again? I'm trying to type it.
That's okay. That's okay. It's resume and the number 4 hire consultant.
At Gmail?
Yep.
All right. I'll add that to the screen.
Perfect.
Oh, maybe. And there we go. So your phone number is 815-520-7695 and resume for hire consultant at gmail.com. I love it. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and some golden nuggets, because you did give away some awesome free tips for people.
That's okay.
But I always enjoy chatting with you. And if anybody has any questions, or if they're watching on the replay, we'll make sure to get those to Vicki.
Absolutely. And even if they just want to call and see how it works and, pricing structure and that type of thing, we can certainly talk about it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Vicki. Everybody have a great day.
Yep, you too. Bye.